Getting started in real estate photography can be a very daunting task. You're not sure if you should buy lighting equipment, a full frame camera, which lens to buy. They're all difficult choices. Today I'm going to discuss the essential gear you'll need to start your real estate photography business. Simply follow this guide and you will be well on your way. So I just want to start off by saying don't go too cheap, but go cheap, okay? It's kind of an oxymoron or whatever, but don't do it. Don't go too cheap, okay? It's really important. Just thank your lucky stars, okay? You're planning on opening up your own business, and imagine if you were opening up a restaurant or something. You'd have to buy chairs, you'd have to buy plates, you'd have to buy an oven, you'd have to buy all this stuff, employees. You're in real estate photography, so I think you should get some really good stuff to start yourself off, but not too good, okay? You're gonna be able to cut corners big time. And we're gonna talk about how, okay? Like the first thing we're gonna talk about, crop bodies. There's no need to be spending tons of money on full frame bodies for real estate photography, okay? There's just no need for it whatsoever. So go cheap, but don't go too cheap. You're already really lucky. Just get some great gear and let's start talking about it. All right, the first thing I'm gonna get into is the camera. And this is a really important part of your overall system, of course. It's kind of the guts or the heart of your whole operation. So keeping with that theme of going cheap but not too cheap, what I really recommend is the D7500 right now, made by Nikon. The D7500 is a great camera. It's pretty much top of the line crop camera. It has a D500 sensor in it and you just can't really beat it. It's just a really kind of a sort of dumbed down D500, which is exactly what we're going for. We don't need the focusing and the frames per second that the D500 might have. So the D7500 is a really, really good option for real estate photographers. The one thing I want to point out about camera bodies is you never know what you're going to be doing, guys. So like, for example, take me. I never thought in a million years I was going to be doing video. But look at this, I'm doing video right now. What if I would have bought a camera that didn't do video or something, right? I know they all do video, but the point is, you gotta really try and buy up a little bit. It's really gonna save you money in the long run. So what advantages do we get for going crop sensor? Well, for one, the camera itself is very cheap, right? The D7500 is really cheap, I think, personally. Not really cheap, but you know, it's not so bad. And then also, you gotta get a backup body, right? So you're gonna be able to go grab like a D300 or a D90 or a D7000 is what I really recommend. And you're gonna be able to pick those up so cheap. So for me, I have my trusty D90 and this is sort of my backup camera, but I end up using this on about 80 or 90% of my real estate shoots just because I like the file sizes. So no matter what you do, you have to have a backup body. There's just no doubt about it. And going crop, you're gonna be able to pick up these really cheap backup bodies like my D90 or a D7000, whatever your choice happens to be. So if you're looking for the Canon equivalent of what I'm recommending, I really would go for something like the 80D. I think the 80D is a great choice. It'll give you all the features and flexibility that a Nikon can, and you just can't go wrong with the Canon 80D. Now, some of you guys might be asking about Sony or Panasonic and all those other choices. I do think the Sony a6000 is a cool little camera and I see a lot of good results with it. But my personal feeling is between all these cameras we discussed, the Nikons, the Canons, the Sonys, they're all going to be producing similar results in terms of image quality. And I feel really strongly about that. Some people say, oh, you know, the Sony's taking better video, whatever. I think the Nikon systems, like if you get that D7500, it's going to take great video. It has a lot of options. And personally, what I'm looking for in my video cameras now is like 60 frames per second, which is really nice to do slow motion. And you know, maybe 4K video, which is really nice because with 4K, you could do like a fake slider technique where you're not really getting the parallax in terms of the background shifting, but you're getting really nice fake sliding technique because you have so much room to crop in and do a slider technique within the frame that you're using, okay? I just feel like the Sony a6000, the problem with the system is that there's a few lenses and there's a few apps like the CAMRANGER and like for example, the Tamron 10-24, you can't put on a Sony. So there's just certain things that you just can't put on a Sony or use with a Sony. And like tomorrow, the greatest piece of gear could come out in the history of real estate photography, like a new lens. And maybe they don't make it for Sony, but they're for sure gonna make it for Canon and Nikon, okay? So that's why I really recommend sticking with Canon or Nikon. So lenses, this is probably the most important choice you're gonna make in my opinion. The first big choice, you gotta choose Nikon or Canon, you just gotta do that. And your second big choice is what lens do I choose? Right here I have a Tokina 11-16 and it's just a great little lens for real estate photography. It's ultra sharp, it's not too expensive, It's going to be a workhorse for you for years, and you just can't go wrong with one of these lenses. The Tokena 11 to 20 is going to be in the same vein, about as good a quality, and you just can't go wrong with those two Tokenas, the 11 to 16 and the 11 to 20. The other lens I recommend that'll give you a little bit more latitude in terms of the focal range is the CAMRANGER 10 to 24. Okay, so that one is great. It's really sharp. I've used it and I love it. And so it has vibration compensation, which I think is a really good feature if you ever happen to get into video. All right, we're on the lights. We all know you're not thinking about doing HDR. We all know it for a fact. So just forget that right now. Okay, you gotta have lights. Okay, the classic analogy I always use. Okay, when I was 16, my mom and dad, they taught me how to drive, okay? And you know, my dad had a stick shift and my mom had an automatic. I don't even know if they make stick shifts anymore, but anyway, my dad said, we got to teach him on the stick. And sure enough, I got in there. And guess what? It's hard to learn how to drive on a stick shift, right? Because you're nervous, you're just learning how to drive, and it's tough. And I know it's really tough to get in there and do that, but it's so worth it because now for the rest of your life, you know how to drive a stick shift, okay? And have you ever met those people in high school or whatever that didn't know how to drive a stick shift and they're like the only one that can drive? Don't put yourself in that situation for the rest of your life. So that's my analogy for learning to use lights immediately when you get started in real estate photography, all right? It's like learning to drive a stick shift. So the lights I recommend that you get, you should start off with a couple speed lights. I'd say 2, okay? And that's gonna allow you to experiment and put one light over here and one light over here and kind of blend the lights together. And you know, I would say don't start off with one, that's a little bit limiting. And the system I'm gonna recommend is the R2 system from Flashpoint. You just get a trigger to put on top of your camera and then you buy their lithium ion lights, L-I-O-N, and make sure you get the manual one because you're gonna wanna be adjusting it by yourself. You don't want any of that through the lens crap. You don't wanna have to pay for that or deal with it on site. Believe me, you're not gonna wanna deal with through the lens, okay? So just get the manual ones, they're cheaper. And you are going to be out there adjusting the power of your flashes yourselves, okay? And you're going to find as time goes by, you're going to be in a room like this and you're going to say, oh, this is half power with this one and quarter power for that one over there. You're going to know that stuff in like a few months, okay? So don't be intimidated by that. All right, for the umbrella brackets, you're going to need one of these guys for every single light stand you have. So I got these cheap impact ones. They're not very great. I would recommend the ones you see up on screen right now from Amazon. And so believe it or not, these guys can actually be a little bit more daunting than you think when starting out. So there's gonna be a little umbrella holder right here. And the whole key to figuring these guys out is that whatever way that umbrella holder slants, if it slants from up to down, the up side is gonna be the front, okay? And the down side is gonna be the back. So for example, since this is higher for the umbrella than this side, it's kind of slanted this way, okay? I would always mount my light like this and the umbrella would be out here, okay? Because you don't want to mount it the other way because then your light would be pointed to, your umbrella would be too low, okay? So that's angled so that the flash can point directly into the middle of the umbrella, okay? So that's the most important part about the umbrella brackets. All right, on to tripods, guys. And I got my little Enduro right here and I love this thing and he's a really bad boy and they don't really make this guy anymore, so I can't really recommend him. Let me check the model number. It's the Alloy 8M AT413. But he's a great little tripod. He's actually not that little, but it works really well. So what I have to say about tripods is people don't really think about this. This is the thing you're holding on to. You might take 300 photos in a day, right? This is the thing that you're adjusting and moving and holding on to all day, all right? So you want something really comfortable that has a nice center column. This one doesn't move that smoothly and so it sort of bugs me. But the point is you want to get something really nice that you're constantly holding on to all day, moving around. You want something that moves nicely, okay? So the one I recommend is the Benro Mach 3 Extra Long Carbon Fiber 4 series that you see on your screen right now, okay? You just cannot go wrong. And the few things that this is going to do for you, I mean, it's just great. First of all, the thing looks like $1 million, okay? And that does count because you're in front of your clients, you're in front of these people, and it's just a great looking tripod. I know that sounds kind of superficial, but it's true. I mean, the thing just looks great, okay? I went into the shop to hold one of these guys and I already have a tripod that I love, but I seriously wanted to buy one of these Mach 3 tripods because it's just so smooth and light and everything was so fluid and I just love the design and everything. So you're just not gonna go wrong with one of these just in terms of its operation. And the last thing I'm gonna point out is invest something in your tripod again, because the quality is something you're gonna be handling the whole day, okay? And the second thing is you pay some decent money for this right now, and that's it. Unless it gets stolen, okay, you're set. If you know, for 10, 20 years, who knows? So of course, as you've been seeing, there's this Manfrotto head on top of my tripod, and this is a Manfrotto 410, all right? And you really just, in my opinion, should not even do your job without this guy, okay? It allows you to get your tripod level and then move the axis independently, like swiveling around like that, okay? Assuming you're level. But anyway, you just cannot do your job effectively without this, okay? I'm not gonna get all into the nuts and bolts of it, but you just have to get one of these, okay? Whether it's the 405 or the 410, you've gotta have it. So your case, what do you put all this crap in, okay? I have a Pelican case of 1560, and I'm gonna go ahead and try and grab this guy, see if I'm strong enough. Pull it on over here. So I know you can't see this, but you know, I'm just gonna try and like, I know you can't see this low, but for example, guys, think a little bit big, because you're gonna be adding stuff to this. You wanna think a little bit big. In other words, I'm saying you might not know what you're gonna do in the future, okay? So like, for example, I have kind of a big case, but you know, I can fit a drone in here if I want, a Mavic, okay? So I could just fit that right over here in this spot that you can't see. Drones are a really big part of the real estate market right now. I'm totally against them in that I'm just not interested in doing that type of work. And even I'm thinking about getting a drone. So that's how like important they're becoming right now. And the drone I recommend, like for example, the drone I would buy and I might buy tomorrow, I mean, I've really been thinking about it, is the DJI Mavic, okay? That'll just fit right into the spot on my case. I have a little extra spot on my case, and I could be shooting drones without at all having to change my gear. I could just put it in that little spot, and I'm literally hardly carrying anything more to my shoots. So for the software, I would say the Lightroom and Photoshop subscription, which is like $10 a month or $12 a month, whatever it is, that's the way to go, okay? It's really the way, just the future and the way it's going, and you're gonna get updates and stuff, but that's what I would do as far as the software. So don't miss out on the next blog. It's going to be about computers. I just thought that was a really complex topic to sort of squeeze into this blog, and I just think a whole topic just on computers is going to be a good one. So tune in for that one. And guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time, all right?